Okay, this story comes to us from newsyahoo.com. Now, you remember the Oklahoma guy, Jared Lakey, who was tased over 50 times by cops and died in the hospital? Well, those two police officers have been convicted. That's right, two former Oklahoma police officers who used tasers over 50 times on an unarmed man who later died have been convicted of second-degree murder, per the New York Times.
Two former Oklahoma police officers have been convicted of second-degree murder. They used their stun guns 50 times on an unarmed man back in 2019.
It's the case we've been following for the past year. Brandon Dingman and Joshua Taylor guilty of murdering Jared Lakey.
Now, the death of Jared Lakey, 28, from a heart attack following his July 2019 arrest brought to the forefront the issue of police using stun guns, with advocates arguing they're safer than firearms and critics saying they're contributed to many fatalities. It's also an example of excessive force being used by police, argued prosecutors, who noted that in Oklahoma, officers are only permitted to use the degree of force reasonably necessary under the circumstances. But police were instructed that the use of tasers should be limited to 15 seconds, prosecutors said. Lakey's exposure exceeded 3 minutes.
They have recommended a sentence of 10 years in prison. The former police officers from the small town of Wilson, Oklahoma, tried to restrain Lakey when they stunned him 53 times. The defense argued a neck restraint actually caused Lakey to have a heart attack and die, not the officers using stun guns on him for 4 minutes straight. Dingman and Taylor are now scheduled to be sentenced in December. They could face from 10 years to life in prison.
The chief medical examiner who determined his death determined it was due to complications of a heart attack and law enforcement use of electrical weapon and restraint. That's according to the Daily Ardmorite. Is that it? Daily Ardmorite. What a weird name for a paper. Now, lawyers for Dingman and Taylor said they would appeal their convictions. Well, of course they're going to appeal. We're not guilty to do their job. The second-degree murder charge carries a possible sentence of 10 years to life in prison. So, last Friday, a jury in Carter County, Oklahoma, found Dingman and Taylor guilty of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, per the New York Times. And they have been convicted of that and second-degree murder. So, I don't know. You know, we get excited sometimes when cops get convicted of this stuff, and we go, "Ye got them, goodbye, cops." But then we find out they'll get like 5 years. They'll be out in 2 with good behavior. So I don't know. I just said good behavior and cops in the same sentence. But this is an update to that. So I did do an editorial on Jared Lakey when it occurred, back when it occurred. I did do an editorial on it at that time. And I just wanted to give you the update that, in fact, those two cops have been convicted. So, sentenced, we'll see.